ළමයිට එක තියෙන හොල්ලේ නැති මේක
සිග්නල් තියෙනවා නේද පුතා?
මචං උගලද කනෙක්ට් ලයින් එක බලන්න.
බැක් වයිෆයි එකට.
ඔකනේ අනිත් එක කනෙක්ට් අනුරාධා කියන්නේ.
ඒක මචං නෑ නේ බං.
ඔෆ් කළොන් කර වයිෆයි.
මේක ගන්න නෑ. අඩක් වෙන්නේ නෑ ඔෆ් කරලා ඔන් කරාම අනුරාධා වෙන්නේ නෑ.
පොඩ්ඩයි නා.
හරි දැන් එන්නනවා
නේද ඔෆ් කරාද?
ඔව් අවුලන්නේ. අර ගැජට් එක ඔෆ් කරා. නෑ.
හරි මම කියන්නම්. උලන්ද ඔතනට එන්න. ඔතනට අරන් එන්නද?
rounds of growth and recession, but the thrust of the future is invariably in the area of science and technology and innovation. So I'm very glad that this theme has been highlighted in this conference. I believe it is the only plenary session, because after this session is over, you will be going into different breakout sessions, different groupings, which will discuss specialized areas. But this is the plenary session, and I think it's at the heart of our conference. So may I ask Dr. Monty Kasim to say a few words and also to introduce the speakers. After that, we will have some time for questions, and I think by 1 o'clock, we can wrap up this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Munagama. I think we have to set the bar high today, and it is easy to set the bar high when you're the first session. I must apologize to my colleagues who come after us, but I think Minister Munagama has laid a kind of broad vision as to why STI is so important. We have an excellent panel here today, and I will just follow the speaking order that the Secretariat has so carefully prepared. First of all, it is my profound pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Michinari Hamaguchi, who is a medical practitioner and a researcher. He was the Dean of the School of Medicine of Nagoya University and went on to become a very, very illustrious president of the same university, which is one of Japan's leading top global universities. He is also the chairperson of the very eminent Council for Science and Technology in Japan, and he is also currently the president of the Japan Science and Technology Agency. For those of you who might not be aware of what this signifies, the Japan Science and Technology Agency is Japan's largest and one of the world's largest funding agencies for research applications through innovation. The Japan Society for the Promotion of Science is the other institution, and that is for blue sky research. So directed research, policy-led research is usually the outcomes of the work of the Japan Science and Technology Agency. And Professor Hamaguchi's background is in pathological medical chemistry. He is, even up to now, an active professor in cancer biology at the University of Nagoya, and is a board member of both the Japanese Cancer Association as well as a member of the American Association for Cancer Research. He has many firsts as director of the Sporting Center for Medical Research and Education, set up a research institute for disease mechanism and control, and the radioisotope Center's medical school branch at Nagoya University. He has received many awards, both nationally and internationally, to celebrate his work. And it is my great pleasure, Dr. Hamaguchi, to have you here with us. As an old friend of his, for me too, it is wonderful to have him here in my homeland, sharing his wisdom with us. Over to you, Dr. Hamaguchi.
Thank you very much, Professor Kasim. His Excellency Mr. Salato Amunugama, Professor Montkasim, Ritsumeikan Trust, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for giving me a chance to talk with you today. First of all, let me congratulate the government of Sri Lanka on successful launching of the Science and Technology for Society Forum Sri Lanka today. It is indeed my great honor and pleasure today to talk to you. Today, I will talk 3 points. First is about our history. As you know, the United Nations General Assembly in September last year approved the Agenda 2030 with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. To achieve those goals, we need to collaborate mutually across the border to overcome serious problems in a global scale. I would like to start my talk by quoting historian Edward Hallett Carr. He left a very impressive word. History is an unending dialogue between the present and the past. The meaning is, I think, if we want to change the present condition, if we want to make our future to be sustainable, we have to discuss with our past. That's why I'll start my talk with our history. History, a story of Komehyapyo. What is Komehyapyo? Well, let me explain. Komehyapyo means 100 straw rice bags. It was a long, long time ago, 150 years ago, when Japan had to open our country. We had the Civil War, very, very severe war. That changed Japan from Edo period to Meiji period. At the time, in 1869, people in the Nagaoka-han, an old clan of Tokugawa side, old side, Edo period side, were suffering. People in Nagaoka-han were starved. Then neighboring clan, the Mineyama-han, feel pity about this and send 100 straw rice bags to feed people. But the Nagaoka-han senior councillor, Kobayashi Torasaburo, decided to sell the rice bag. Why? He wants to build a school for higher level education instead of feeding people. He left a word, impressive word, here. 100 rice bags will be instantly eaten up. But if we devote it to education, it would produce 1 million rice bags eventually. Developing people is developing country. I'm sure we can share this same value with you in terms of importance of education. Next point I would like to point out is World War. In the end of the World War, Tokyo was devastatedly burned down with the Great Air Raid. But 20 years later, last time Tokyo Olympics showed how successfully Japan had revived and modernized. We Japanese, at least my age, will never forget the speech made by President of Janice Richard Childner at the time of San Francisco Peace Treaty, as Omi-sensei told already today. He left the word, hatred ceases not by hatred, but by love. Hatred ceases not by hatred, but by love. It was the time I was a boy. I never forget. We are poor, really, really poor. But I still remember that time. It is clear reconstruction from the World War II and following success economic development were accomplished by educated workers. This chart, right bottom side, shows the GDP growth and the high school and university entrance rate in post-war Japan. They showed clear relation, as you can see. But I have to tell you that Omi-sensei's word, as he told you, light and shadow of science and technology. I have to mention about shadow side. Rapid economic growth of Japan made us happier, but it also caused pollution-related health problems, such as Kumamoto, Minamata, and Niigata-Minamata disease caused by methyl mercury in industrial wastewater. Toyama Itai disease. Itai means pain, pain, pain. It's caused by cadmium in mine drainage. And Mie Yokkaichi asthma caused by sulfur dioxide from petrochemical complex. The left photo shows hands of Kumamoto Minamata disease patient. It's a really toxic nerve disease. It causes an involuntary movement, continuous involuntary movement, and loss of sight here, and cause speech disorder. It's a long course of disease, always painful, miserable, and spends long time to reach death. This is the only way to release it at the time. Initially, it was thought this disease, cause of this disease might be an infectious one. But researchers of Kumamoto University, however, finally found that the disease was caused by methyl mercury in industrial wastewater. As for the Mie Yokkaichi asthma right side, researchers from Mie University and Nagoya University, my university, Nagoya University, revealed that the smoke from the facilities was responsible for the several severe respiratory diseases. At the time, I was a medical student. I also witnessed these problems. It's really pity, painful, and no one can cure these diseases. After all, science and technology successfully overcome these diseases, but we still don't have any way to cure the patient. They are still alive. This is the point, the shadow side of science technology. If we are not carefully enough about our science, the cause shadow side, and it will increase, kill people. In 2011, we experienced the Great East Japan earthquake and subsequent tsunami. You might experience similar earthquake and tsunami in your country. In our side, over 18,000 people passed away by the so-called tsunami rank, and damaged 561 kilometers square area. The tsunami wave reached heights of up to 40 meters, not 4 meters, 40 meters, like this building, and traveled up to 10 kilometers inland. The road and train network was destroyed extensively. lifeline infrastructure was broken off for months. Even in the hardship period, however, people in Tohoku area were cooperating with each other. And I would say evacuees were so patient, kept in ordinary just society, like right bottom side. I believe that's the effect of education, the power of education, that gives us to conquer these strengths. Again, I want to emphasize, education is the most important factor for our society to be sustainable. After the Great East Japan earthquake, we JST started the program to promote post-earthquake revitalization in April 2012. This program aims to promote projects to revitalize local industries and economy through science, technology, and innovation. That's the only way we believe. Just established 3 local offices and sent so-called matching planner who were traveling throughout the affected area, devastated area. They played really important roles, like surveying needs of local companies and identifying universities' technologies that may suit to these companies' needs and put all together into research and development or technology transfer project. Those projects have integrated local traditional works with new technology to produce new products, like one on these photos. JST has been supported a number of projects and different locations across the Tohoku area, as shown on the right side of the map. The program has clearly shown that we could make 308 employment, and we saved 102 companies within 3 years. I'm so proud of the matching planners' achievement of this reconstruction program. In the second part, I would like to discuss the importance of science and technology from different point of view. That is Nobel Prize. First one is Dr. Yamanaka, who received Nobel Prize in Physics and Medicine in 2012. Yamanaka is a medical doctor. My friend has been devoted working on R&D, and he invented so-called iPS cell, multipotent cell lines. Another example is Dr. Omura, who is a Nobel laureate in physiology or medicine in 2015. He discovered novel bacteria from which he succeeded in producing ivermectin, an anti-parasitic medication. Ivermectin proved effective against onchocerciasis, also known as liver blindness, lymphatic filariasis, or as elephantiasis, like you can show the patient foot. By this discovery, over 33 million people per year, 33 million per year in African countries are saved from liver blindness by taking ivermectin. Let me give me a short time to his personal story. When he graduated the college, he was a teacher. It's not a regular teacher, but nighttime job. At the time, Japan was poor, so many talented young people cannot enter high school. Instead, they work during the daytime, earn money, and spend money for their study at nighttime. One day, a student came to school, and his clothes inspired Dr. Omura. Why? He wore very, very dirty clothes, oily clothes, because long, hard daily work. But the student was so eager to study, and Omura was inspired. He should continue study. And then he started lifelong research as a researcher. He entered graduate school after war. This is the start point of this long history, over 50 years, It's a nighttime school that's inspired him. Third story is blue LED. As you know, blue LED is used for many things now. It delivers a light to 1.5 billion people who are beyond the reach of the power grid. Big market of LED of about $14 billion per year and new employment of about 32,000 people. This is old data. 2007 we researched, and the number value will be increased up to tenfold, I guess. Anyway, both of them, Akasaki Amano were professor of Nagoya University, and at the time I was a president of Nagoya University. I could witness their ceremony at Stockholm. And they have very important point I have to tell you today, a secret of success. First point, this invention was made by the combination of old wisdom and passion of young generation. We need a combination, teamwork. Second point, poor condition, not rich condition. Poor condition of research made this invention to be successful. At the time, no one in Japan, except them, believed that blue LED can be possible within 20th century. Gallium nitrate is so difficult to handle. So they are not funded. Even JST couldn't fund them. We couldn't supply money. So they had small money to start the experiment. That makes them to make the machine themselves. This point makes this project successful. So poor condition is important. Third point is it took almost 40 years. Not 4 years, 40 years. We need passion, lifelong passion to complete it. Now, let me introduce JST outlined some international programs contributing to the global innovation ecosystem. This is my business. I came here for this meeting. First is Sakura Science. I won't go into detail because of short of time, but Dr. Hirose will give you the detail later, so I just show you the slide we have operating. Now we are increasing money and support. And many Nobel laureates helps us to teach young talents. And next year we will invite as many as 5,000 young talent people from Asian countries. I promise you. Second point I want to let you know is SATREPS. SATREPS is a kind of cooperated program with JST and JICA promote, jointly conducting the International Collaborative Research Program, Science and Technology Research Partnership for Sustainable Development, so-called SATREPS in short. Since the start of SATREPS in 2008, JST and JICA have jointly selected 115 projects in 46 countries, as shown on this map. Among those, we had one project in Sri Lanka. This is a slide I want to introduce you. The Japan-Sri Lanka collaboration project of SATREPS. The development of pollution control and environmental restoration technology. Oh, wasting lifetime. So, sorry. This is a conclusion. Hatred sees not by hatred, but by love. And Buddha said, thousands of candles can be lightened from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. This morning, we fired the oil lamp. What you fired? Is it a passion, devotion, hope to the sustainable development? Anyway, it depends on you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hamaguchi-sensei. And as you can see, the importance of science and technology, education and research in national development helps stimulate our industry. Innovation brings us new perspectives of infrastructure development. And most importantly, it also helps in recovering from crises, replacing despair with hope, and transforming the dark into light. So I think the message is clear, and the Japan Science and Technology Agency, under the leadership of Dr. Hamaguchi, has pledged to work very closely with Sri Lanka and helping us develop into the next generation of science and technology based development. Let me now introduce our second speaker, is Dr. Frank, I hope I get your name pronounced right, Dr. Frank Ebinger. Dr. Ebinger, again, is a professional in an area which is very relevant to this conference. He is a full professor of business administration and sustainability management at the Technik Hochschule in Nuremberg. He has not only been working in his own country, he is also currently working in Africa, in Addis Ababa. I believe he's an adjunct professor at the Addis Ababa Institute of Technology. And he has, I think, perhaps most importantly and relevant to us and our discourse, he has been the program director for the German aid program in the promotion of microfinance in Central Asia. I do hope that you can practice your experience, share your experience here in Sri Lanka too, because we too, I think, need this component of support for small enterprise very much. I have great pleasure. He has numerous partnerships working with industry and SMEs in consulting in scientific projects, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Which direction is the next one? Next slide. Yeah, thank you very much. Dear Excellency, Minister of Science and Technology, dear Excellencies, dear chairs, dear honorable guests, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you about a topic which is, of course, of crucial eminence for Sri Lanka. And as Dr. Hamaguchi said, developing people is developing country. I want to talk about promoting of university, institutes, industry partnerships, and a policy which is coming up in the next months, which should describe and should organize, should govern these partnerships. My old grandmother said, Frank, if you talk to people, you should always start with a positive news. And I want to start, like my grandmother said, with a good news. Sri Lanka makes a great progress in ranking of the Global Innovation Index from the 105th place in 2014 now to the 85th place in 2015, which is a tremendous and very good process and progress. But there is also in the same report stated that the university business collaboration in Sri Lanka shows relatively weak performance. And this is, I think, the reason why Minister of Science and Technology, the government of Sri Lanka, put an emphasis on that issue and gave the task to the Sri Lankan National Science Foundation in order to formulate a draft for university, institute, industry partnership policy to promote innovation and make transfer of technology in Sri Lanka as a common and knowledge sharing as common between the different entities. And I just mentioned, we just recently started, my colleagues from GIZ and I myself started a few weeks ago with that work, collaborating with the partners. And if I don't mention all the papers which I have come across, please forgive me. So it's my mistake. But in 20 minutes to present the whole umbrella is quite difficult. But I came across on the last day of my last visit last month. There was a recent study prepared which come from the Higher Education for the 21st Century, the HETC project, which was funded by the World Bank, I guess. And the authors there did a very, very good job. They made a kind of survey in universities trying to find out what is the problem in universities in order to come nearer and closer to businesses. And they referred to a first survey in 2007, and later on in 2015 they did a second survey, which is quite good, because then you can look how the developments are ongoing. And they came up with recommendations. They said, for example, the government policy should be updated on science, technology, innovation strategy. So there is something of a call for an umbrella. They should, or the government should create stronger incentives for university industry collaboration, strengthening the mobility between universities and companies, and providing better access to information on research and innovation. This is the suggestion of these papers in a nutshell as well, but I think you see there the source. If you are interested, it's a draft. As far as I know, it's quite an interesting paper which I came across. And of course, we did some first empirical studies and came across some hurdles. University business linkages are carried out mostly on a pilot level, so very small. It lacks an overarching framework. So by accident, usually the collaboration starts to come into life. We have patchy and decentralized research entities which should be a little more coordinated. There is something to do. Collaboration exists by accident, as I said, and not strategically. There is a waiting attitude. This is something which is all around the world the same thing. But the universities wait to be called by companies to help companies to solve companies' problems, and vice versa. Companies usually wait for universities to bring up some knowledge or some technology or something like this. So both sides wait and look at each other, and this is as well here a kind of visible attitude which we should overcome. So bridging the partners is something which is of crucial. Technology transfer remains still on an infant stage, especially into small and medium-sized enterprises, and we have, for example, some good measures already ongoing. And again, if I don't mention all the measures like IP policy or some others, small and medium-sized enterprises policy, I just mention here that we have one opportunity that professors could make a 3-month sabbatical and go to companies in order to work with companies together and maybe creating some technology transfer, knowledge transfer into the companies. And this is something which we have to establish in a stronger way. So this is consistent mainly with all the research which is done worldwide regarding the R&D collaborations of universities and industry. So it's not a special issue of Sri Lanka. I think it's a typical issue of this university-industry linkages, these points. So, but nevertheless, we have to work on that in order to strengthen the collaboration between universities and companies. And we have some good starting points. And again, if I don't mention all the policies which are already existing, please forgive me, but here we have a recent circular from the University Grants Commission, and they put emphasis on 7 points: student projects, consulting services, IP policy in universities, university spin-offs, research corporations, strategic alliances, and trainings and coachings, which is a quite good approach, which is directed to universities. But universities are not the only partner, so we should also look for some response on the side of the companies, be it bigger companies, but also be it smaller medium-sized companies. So we should raise the awareness as well there, that the universities will offer something, but on the other hand side, they should be as well in the position to ask for that kind of services. So the issues are known, suggestions are made. What else is needed in order to bring the task into life? And one answer is develop and work on a system, on a systematic approach. And a systematic approach is, for example, the national innovation system. So the strategy, which I mentioned before, should describe a kind of national innovation system, which comes here from here is a laser pointer, hopefully. No, I don't think so. Which comes from strategical part. So on the policy level, we describe more the strategy We describe more the policy levels and also the collaboration of different ministries in order to strengthen innovation in Sri Lanka. And we need a meso level, some institutional innovation support. We need entities in order to translate the policy into action, into operations. And of course we need on the meso level some support programs. And you mentioned microfinance as part where I'm coming from. Microfinance programs might be one option, but there are some other options. However, it should reach at the end of the day the operational level, the micro level, and the actors. So universities at the end of the day has to sit together with companies and vice versa. So there we have to look on the different opportunities, the possible solutions in order to make to bring them together, bring partners together in order to make this happen. So as I said, we have to address 3 levels: the macro level, defining the policy. There are ministries on the federal, on the regional level, but also councils, policymakers should really sit together and try to describe the strategy and of course the policies. On the meso level, we have some research entities, technology transfer on the university side, but also don't forget the company side. Usually the company side is always forgotten. So Chamber of Commerce, for example, should also play a crucial role on the meso level in order to raise the issues which comes from companies in order to meet it on that level. And give the sound platform for bringing policy into practice. And on the micro level, of course, firms, universities are the institutions which are spread here already and developed already here in Sri Lanka. And we have already some very good existing research entities which we should really bring into operations on that level. So I brought along an example from Germany. I don't want to put a long emphasis on it. Maybe if you download this presentation, you will find it anyway. But here you see the policy level, which is divided into the federal parliament and the federal level of the different ministries work together and cooperate in that university business linkage issue. But also we have, as we are a federal state, we have 16 parliaments on the different Länder states, so to say, and there as well the ministries work together. And these both policy entities describe the strategy area of Germany, and this is one wish for the Sri Lankan maybe future policy framework. You should really not put emphasis on all sectors and all issues in science and technology. You should really look on certain sectors in order to bring your strategy down to earth and concentrate it on your crucial sectors, your crucial economical sectors here in Sri Lanka, as I think we did quite successful in Germany. And down there you see the different entities, Fraunhofer Society, for example, or the German Science Foundation, which do the kind of which create a platform for all the partners. So I just jump over this slide because of time, but again we see here the policy level has some certain interests. They want to bring up a workable strategy. They have also always an eye on political reputation. So successful entity should bring a vivid policy into life. They should have a high impact, reach a high impact, and of course time plays a crucial role. The science has high scientific orientation, the exploration of new scientific path, low involvement in industry usually, and the industry has, in some cases, research knowledge according to industrial needs and easy access to public finding. These different interests we have to balance out in that university-industry linkage issue in order to find a common ground, and this is something which this slide should put an emphasis on. I'm coming to another slide which is also crucial. As scientists, as researcher, maybe as applied researcher, maybe as a company owner, you know that you have to respect certain timelines. And as Professor Hamaguchi said, sometimes it takes 40 years, to bring a certain outcome, scientific outcome into practice. And you should take always into consideration when you talk about university business linkage time aspects, because business want to have today or latest by tomorrow the solution on the desk, while universities sometimes takes time and do research again and again and try to bring a theory into real existing solution. So this takes time, and this is not fitting to the needs of companies. So again, this is something we have to balance out in terms of university business linkages. So what tasks to be done? In the next weeks, in order to address the issues which I, in a nutshell, presented here, we try to work on the 3 levels. On the macro level, we try to collect and analyze all the existing and in-life existing policy documents which are related to the topic, because we need a kind of common understanding within the different ministries. So Ministry of Education plays a crucial role, Ministry of Economy, so the Ministry of Science and Technology as a leading ministry should also have a say in that. Bringing other ministries on board, at least on an informational level, but the best would be to start a dialogue between the ministries. I know, by the way, this is something which is of very, very crucial problematic in Germany as well. So sometimes ministers don't talk to each other. I know that's a real thing that happens in Germany as well. So that is something which we have to overcome here in Sri Lanka. Yeah. And then, of course, in that I mentioned already, identify the priority sectors of Sri Lankan development strategy. So what are the major economical sectors where we want to put more research in and want to develop certain economical entities, so companies, corporations or something like this. So this is something where we work in the next week. On the meso level, we try to map, identify and map the research entities. We try to find existing funding mechanisms. So again, this is something which is of crucial, and maybe we have to develop some more, some different. We try to develop different channels, platforms, activities for information exchange. So bridging, again, is something, bring the partners together, but how? You should open the information floor, should create a kind of communication opportunity. And on the micro level, of course, as I mentioned, this research, it wasn't research done in universities, but this research neglected completely the business partners. So the business partners have no voice so far. So we try to find out what our business partners needs in Sri Lanka, and in order to think about their needs and how they could work together with universities. So we collect key cases. in order to make best practice workable. We prepare a list of typical organizational technical hurdles here in Sri Lanka, and prepare a list of basic research needs in companies. And we want to organize some workshops, of course, in order to start the dialogue. And exactly, this is my last slide, so to say. There's a lot of things to do, but it's not a thing of the ministry only. It's a thing of all of us, so let's work together on it and try to facilitate this university-industry linkage issue. Thank you very much for your attention.
Be proactive and not passive, don't wait, act, and for the government too to create these macro-level climates in which university industry IP partnerships can flourish. Thank you very much. And Germany and Japan, I think, are two countries where the real economy is important, and they are science and technology driven. So I think we have, once more, we are coming back to the Japanese side. We have Dr. Robert Bachman. He is the Executive Vice President and the Vice CEO of the Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology Graduate University, popularly known as OIST. And OIST is a new international graduate university which is committed to establishing a world-class research and doctoral training program. Dr. Bachman himself comes from a very high executive position in the National Institutes of Health in the US to take over and actually formulate, establish, and now drive this new university to the heights of excellence that it has achieved in a very short time. Just in 2013, I believe the Prime Minister of Japan mentioned two universities by name in his address to the nation on New Year's Day. One was OIST, the other, I'm happy to say, was my university. But the most important thing is that OIST, I think, is a fantastic resource that Sri Lanka can work with in the future. So, like the other two presentations, let's work together. Let's have Dr. Bob Bachman telling us what it's all about. Thank you.
So thank you very much for the kind introduction, Monty. And I'd like to acknowledge the minister. And I'd also like to acknowledge the foresight and pioneering spirit of the organizers of this forum. And in my talk, I'll be focusing on the concept of the pioneering side of what we're trying to do here in general, both at a very strategic policy level, but also at a practical level. And in my talk, I'll be focusing on a particular example of one university, happens to be in Japan, and I'll give some of the background, that is attempting to deal with this very important question of how can we best achieve the translation of science and technology into actual use in the society as a whole. Now, the title, of course, of our university is Okinawa, where we're located, but I realize maybe not all of you know exactly where that is. So I'd like to just quickly bring you up to speed. So Okinawa is part of Japan, but it's very far to the south. And actually, we're very centrally located in this part of Asia generally. Actually, Okinawa is closer to Taiwan, Taipei, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Seoul, and even Manila in the Philippines than it is to Tokyo. So Okinawa is very centrally located. Now, in terms of what we hope to do, we have a mission, as we all do here, to transfer the results of our work in science and technology into use in the society as a whole. And so on the island of Okinawa, when this started, there was no basis for this. And so a key point that has repeatedly come up is that in order to achieve this, it's very important to have a good university of science and technology. And so that's a founding thought for creating this university in Okinawa. The basic objectives are to conduct internationally distinguished education in science and technology in Okinawa, and then with that to contribute to the promotion and self-sustaining development of Okinawa, and at the same time to contribute to the development of science and technology worldwide. And I'll say more about the details of the program as we go forward. Now, someone had to have this idea, and the most important person is sitting here in the front row, and that's Minister Koji Omi, who, as pointed out earlier with Professor Akito Arima, conceived and put together this idea of going beyond the strategy and policy to actually create a university that could try to do this. And this started in about 2001 when Mr. Omi became the minister, and the plan for this project got underway. And then with a series of careful steps from 2001 to 2005 to start a promotion corporation, and then very importantly to get the legislation through the Japanese Diet to create a corporation for the university. This was all achieved with the help of very many people led by Mr. Omi. And then we got our accreditation from the Ministry of Education in 2011, accepted our first students 2012, and I'm now going to catch you up on where we are as a university and where we are with respect to our effort to achieve the technology development and innovation in our university and in Okinawa, and also something about our connections with the community there. So this can't be done by any one person alone, and I think probably the most important ingredient in this is the Board of Governors, which was assembled by Minister Omi, and you will recognize him in the lower left, but and then on the upper middle is Professor Arima, and then there are a number of other very well-known people, including several Nobel Prize winners. And a characteristic of everyone in this group is these are people who have been involved in starting and running universities and doing new projects. And they've been extremely important to the overall mission and success. Now, this is a quick, just a snapshot of what we are. This is in Okinawa, about halfway up on the west side of the coast. You can see the laboratory buildings in the middle, housing on the lower left side, and we now have about 50 faculty, and we're on our way toward doubling to about 100 faculty with, we hope, an eventual goal of reaching about 300. We're a different kind of university. So, for example, we focus on interdisciplinary research, but not at the exclusion of the disciplines. So we have very intense training in particular areas of science, but we require the students to rotate through different laboratories, and we organize classes and programs that cross the boundaries. So we have an emphasis on interdisciplinary research. The program is a 5-year program, and the first 2 years are importantly focused on what I just said, this idea of getting students to be broader in their background and understanding. And then finally, an important thing is that we run the education and research program in English, which is difficult in many countries. It's difficult in Japan, and so that was a very important challenge for us, and I think we've done well, as I'll tell you. The nature of the program is a very dynamic one and a very integrated one. Each of the faculty members, from the youngest ones, the assistant professors, through the senior professors, are independent, and they run their own research unit. They have their own budgets. They make their own decisions. That is, there's a strong emphasis on youth, and our appointment standards are very high. And this is consistent with the overall mission that our target here is to be more than very good. It is truly to be world-class, to try to be best in the world at this. A key element in running the university has to have core resources that can be shared across the units. with excellent research support facilities, and then to, importantly, focus on just the PhD program. So we don't have any undergraduates or master's program students, we just have a PhD program. Now, we don't have any departments. This was a big debate at the beginning, and the conclusion was if we wanted to have free interdisciplinary mixing, we just wouldn't have any departments at all. That's been the case. I think it's been a key to much of the success that we've had. The assignment of office space is mixed. There are no walls between the different units or professors, and there's, as I said, a strong emphasis on common and shared equipment. So the goals are very ambitious. We think we've had an outside review that indicates our progress has been quite good to this point. We built the campus. We've brought in good leadership. We have about, as I said, 50 faculty now, 300 researchers. More than half of the faculty, students, and researchers are non-Japanese, built with a core of Japanese as well. Our students compete with the leading universities of the world, and we've been able to get recognition in major publications and journals throughout the world. And now I'll start to turn to the second subject in terms of our leadership for sustainable development in Okinawa. The way we are going about this is we've created a technology development and innovation center at the university with this goal to foster innovation at the university and in Okinawa. And obviously we need some tools to do this, and the tools are what you would expect. There has to be some kind of infrastructure to enable us to properly identify and license and manage the intellectual property of the university. But to succeed, we're going to have partnerships with others. And very importantly, and sometimes overlooked, we're going to have to measure what we're doing. We're going to have to measure the community that we're in before we're there, and we're going to have to measure what we do and how it turns out eventually. And I'll say a little bit more about this. So in terms of innovation infrastructure, what I'm talking about there is a set of services. We have to do IP management, we have to have business development, marketing, and so on, that are basically services that we provide to the researchers in the university. But importantly, we also have to have physical facilities that go with this, meeting areas, a technology zone, R&D, incubator facility, and this is, these are other areas that we're now building up. In terms of the process, I think probably you're all familiar with these main steps, but we have to cover all of these, that we have to go from the discovery stage and the disclosure of inventions with a technology licensing and a proof of concept program, through the management of the patent applications as they move forward, then contacting businesses, perhaps finding partners, perhaps starting our own companies, and then eventually to go into the private sector with development. And a key point that I'll return to at the end is the idea that this must not only require the research and these intellectual property activities, but it involves a lot of education and communication as well. In terms of partnerships, we must have partnerships locally in Okinawa and in Japan, but in order for us to succeed, we also have to have global partners, and we've been building the foundation for this. As I said, it's very important for us to know where we are when we start, what we're doing along the way, and then how it turned out at the end. And we have put into place a foundation for a good analysis of the metrics and benchmarks that surround what we're doing. So how are we doing? We started our office, our little office, I must say, about 4 years ago. We now have 142 patent applications filed. We've already started to get some patents in. We have 12 industry-funded, externally funded industry-related cooperative agreements going on at this point. We have relationships in terms of networking with industry with well over 200 companies now who are able to come to the campus and meet with our people, and in both directions. Our people can interact with the companies. They come and visit us. And I'll give a few examples of projects that we have been involved with. So one example is the company Misawa Homes. It's a very large Japanese company that focuses on construction of housing. And we have a collaborative agreement with them in which they paid to construct the house, and it's fully fitted out with lots of sensors and devices for monitoring the success of energy management and materials in the semi-tropical environment of Okinawa. And we're very happy with how this is going. Another example, we have a very strong program in material science and nanofluidics, microfluidics, and we have a collaboration with one of the larger Japanese companies making medical devices, and we anticipate success there, and that program's going very well. In addition to the large national companies, we also have, let me try to go back. Oh, yes, we also have collaborations with companies in Okinawa. One of the projects is a wastewater treatment that's designed for small-scale operation on, for example, single farms or single businesses. Another example is a small electric vehicle program that we're doing in collaboration with a company in Okinawa and actually in Hawaii as well. Our research, however, must continue to drive these ideas, and I'll just give a few examples of types of research that we're doing. A key thing that we have at OIST is great strength in molecular genomics, and an example of this is with marine science with the coral genome, which was first sequenced at OIST, including, if those of you know, there's a symbiont algae that also is necessary for the coral, and we've sequenced that as well, and we're now combining this information in a way to achieve a deeper understanding of the relationship and for the potential to both restore and protect the coral in a time of global warming. We're doing that, in fact, in conjunction with the fisheries in Okinawa. Another example is with rice, the subject of the starch that is resistant to digestion. It's useful both for medical uses and for reducing absorption and obesity, and we've developed, in collaboration with others, a strain that achieves this, and now developing the possibility in Okinawa. We have a program focused on new materials for solar cells, which are in the perovskite family. A lot of groups are working on these. I think our group is at a cutting edge and is at the limit of the success for efficiency and material strength at this time. So we're looking forward to this as it moves forward. Another example is the wastewater treatment through the use of microorganisms that are carefully selected based on our knowledge of their genomics to be optimized for this, including the actual use of the so-called microbial fuel cell approach, in which power can be generated as well. And we're doing this in conjunction with, again, with local industries and farms in Okinawa. Another possibility that we're pursuing seriously is the idea of, many others are as well, but the idea of generating electricity from oceans, waves and currents, and we have an active program in this. As I say, many others are involved with this, but we think we have some good ideas, and we hope that we can follow through with this. We've already established one startup company that has its Series A funding. It's doing very well. Its focus is on the shape of proteins, protein tomography, in which individual single protein molecules can be visualized, which is very helpful, very useful in the pharmaceutical industry and other industries related to protein structure. A key point, though, is in addition to the science and the business side, we also have to be involved with training and communications. And so we've established an innovation symposium series in which we've invited a series of people from around the world to come to OIST. This spring we had Rita Caldwell, who's on our Board of Governors, come, as well as Dr. Yuko Hariyama, who's from the Office of Science, Technology, and Innovation in the Cabinet Office, and a number of other visitors from around the world, from, for example, Singapore, California, and we're also interacting with the UK. So this is a very important thing also for us to increase innovation improve innovation through seminar series and professional development workshops. The last thing I want to mention is the relationship of communication with the people of Okinawa as well as our own researchers. OIST prides itself in being an open university. It's open to the community, and we have approximately 40,000 visitors a year. Open Campus Day, we have about 5,000, Children's School of Science, many other activities in which we want the campus to be open for the people of Okinawa to come and feel comfortable, identify with it, and we think this has gone well. And a very important, a key part of this, I think, is the people at the high school level, to have them understand and identify with science. And we have a program in which every single high school student in Okinawa comes to OIST at least once while they're in high school. And I think from this program, we've already begun to have quite an impact on the people of Okinawa, and we look forward to moving on from this point. And so thank you very much. We hope that we're an example that might be relevant.
Thank you, Bob, for that enlightening presentation. And I think Omi-sensei's legacy can be very clearly seen on the screen with this presentation too. The next speaker we have is Mr. Masashi Muromachi. And Mr. Muromachi, until very recently, was the Chief Executive Officer of Toshiba Corporation. Toshiba Corporation is a large Japanese multinational corporation that makes everything from the next generation of white goods to nuclear power plants to smart cities and many, many IoT-based applications. Engagement for Sri Lanka with companies like Mr. Muromachi's, I think, is going to be very important for our future because they are science and technology driven in most cases. So I would welcome Mr. Muromachi to give us his presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for introduction. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Masashi Muromachi. I have served as CEO of Toshiba Corporation until last June. It's my great pleasure to be with you today. Today, I would like to talk about how to develop inclusive and sustainable society in Sri Lanka by science, technology, and innovation. Sri Lanka's economy has been growing for the last 10 years, achieving its average growth rate more than 6%, and GDP per capita achieve about $4,000 US. Looking at the details of GDP of Sri Lanka, about 60% of GDP comes from the service sector, contributing to its economic growth. Sri Lanka places between Eastern Asian countries and India and other Western countries, producing high-quality port operations and BPO. In addition, as fundamentals of industry growing, social infrastructure industries such as construction, communication, water supply, and energy has been advancing. For further acceleration of industry and economy, in Sri Lanka's collaboration with the international society, science and technology could become key functions. For the later half of the 20th century, OECD countries enjoyed shining light of significant development of industry and economy. On the other side, they faced darkening shadow of income inequality, security, and environmental issues. In Sri Lanka, it's critical to introduce the concept of the more light, the less shadow, maximizing light side and minimizing shadow by science and technology innovation. Sri Lanka could integrate science and technology of advanced countries with its rich natural resources, geographical superiority, and diligent human resources, and generate regional emergent innovation. Now, I would like to change the topics from Sri Lanka to global agenda and discuss roles science and technology and how development of Sri Lanka could contribute to advance of international society. In the 20th century, the whole world enjoyed the fruit of cutting-edge science and technology, and as a result, we were able to significantly expand the scale of global economy. As we have entered the 21st century, however, environmental problems such as the finite nature, the Earth's resources, and global warming have become pressing matters for humankind. The issues facing the world have shifted. In the 20th century, there was a total devotion to simple indicator of growth. However, the 21st century is more complex, and we face a trilemma of these issues: economic growth, environmental preservation, and securing resources. All of these must be solved simultaneously. In these circumstances, we, the international community, acting as a united whole, and within that, at level of nation, corporation, and the individual, we now need to construct the elements of harmonious and sustainable society. As we aim for harmony between the environment and the economy, economic growth and environmental impacts have a proportional relationship in our normal economic activities. Smart frugal is a concept that can decouple economic growth and environmental impacts and make them independent events. Lean, a concept that makes things more efficient and economic, merely improves supply side and consumer side processes. Smart frugal is a way of thinking that encompasses an evolution in our understanding of value and in structural reform by making full use of highly advanced ICT system utilized in IoT and Industry 4.0. Toshiba Group is working to realize the smart frugal society that I have introduced with a wide range of advanced energy technologies, ranging from generation and the energy supply side all the way through to the energy consumption. Our capabilities cover renewable energy sources, including solar, wind, geothermal, and hydroelectric power generation, as well as core energy systems such as nuclear and advanced ultra supercritical thermal power generation. In addition, we provide ultra high voltage power distribution and transmission and smart grids on the energy supply side, and heat pumps and LED lighting that can be used in a wide range of areas on energy consumption side. We are contributing to the construction of smart frugal society in an integrated manner, which will help to supply stable electricity and save resources. First, let me talk about energy supply side technology. Our ultra-high temperature turbine systems for thermal power generation improve the efficiency of the heat cycle by 20%. For every 1,000 megawatt power generating facility, they make it possible to reduce CO2 emissions by approximately 900,000 tons per year versus traditional generation methods. In terms of nuclear energy, IEA's white paper clearly states that it's essential part of core infrastructure needed to mitigate global warming. Of course, it goes without saying that safety standards must be overhauled and measures taken in order to improve safety in the future. AP1000 in the third generation pressurized water reactors designed and constructed by Westinghouse Company, a Toshiba Group company. Its design incorporates more safety features than currently operating nuclear reactors. In addition to these features, the construction of 14 facilities of AP1000 reactors bring with them environmental benefits by reducing CO2 emissions by approximately 100 million tons a year. In regard to photovoltaic battery systems, we have supplied 1,000 sites, including public and industrial facilities. And we have won a total 7 orders for mega solar plants from utility companies. Now, I'd like to introduce a new source of energy. It's hydrogen energy. Toshiba has developed a self-sufficient standalone type hydrogen energy supply system that does not need transmission and distribution system to supply energy. By using renewables such as solar, wind, and hydropower to generate hydrogen. It is an environmentally friendly and CO2-free power generation system. Our system H21 has been installed in 4 cities in Japan, such as Yokohama, Kawasaki, Nagasaki, Tokuyama, in western part of the country. I will also be installed in one of major railway station next year. Let me move on to smart grids. The smart grids are expected to form the backbone of next generation electricity networks, which will shape electricity transmission and communications network that are connected to factories and offices, to domestic appliance and storage devices, such as rechargeable batteries for storing generated electricity, and to multiple dispersed power systems, such as photovoltaic generation systems and fuel cells. Smart grid will provide real-time information about electricity demand as well as consumer usage. Then they adjust and supply electricity to meet demand. By providing load balance control between electricity supply and demand, smart grids will work to even out electric loads and will undoubtedly contribute to progress toward the realization of a smart frugal society. Toshiba has been involved in more than 30 smart grid projects and demonstrations around the world. We have cooperated with Okinawa Electric Company on the remote island of Miyakojima, south of Okinawa's main island. The project aims to gather verification data regarding system stability solutions and gain an understanding impact of connecting large multiple sources of renewable energy, such as photovoltaic and wind power, with their wide power fluctuation to transmission systems. The project provides data as accurate as actually implemented systems. Making good use of results, we hope to realize the development of a smart frugal society. We have also brought the smart grid into the home with HEMS, our home energy management system. The HEMS network connects batteries that store energy generated by photovoltaic systems or fuel cells to multiple domestic appliances and hot water heaters. It uses information technology to automatically optimize operating conditions and to measure and display the operating status and power consumption of appliances in the network. Toshiba has developed an interface standardized on the EcoNet specification, the global standard that allows consumers to visualize consumption in the home, and that controls peak shift and demand, allowing loads to balance and achieving reduction of CO2 emissions. BEMS, Building and Energy Management System, provides information on energy status to managers and users of buildings and achieves the most efficient and appropriate energy control. The system's overall energy saving controls, which are based on model-based control, as well as peak shift controls, which utilize power, help to achieve load leveling. And community energy management system is a community-level system covering various buildings in each area that provides total services for operation and maintenance, system ability, and supply and demand optimization in connecting to existing electric power distribution networks. On the demand side, let me pick up heat pump. This is a technology that can absorb heat from the air to provide warmth and releases heat to the air to provide cooling. Its application includes such products as water heaters, air conditioners, and refrigerators. According to the IEA estimate that potential CO2 reductions from widespread use of heat pumps could be as much as 1.8 billion tons annually. That is 8% of world's entire annual CO2 emissions, a figure that indicates that very high expectation that we have for heat pumps. In constructing smart frugal society, there are two possible scenarios that can be applied in developed countries and emerging markets or regions that have been hit by disaster. In developed countries with their mature cities and industries, smart frugal society should be constructed by advancing the concept of smart community as a next step forward. In emerging countries, we need to recognize the importance of moving straight onto the concept of skip to smart frugal. As an eco-leading company, Toshiba is channeling its strength into advancing a global revolution to realize a new sense of values and new societies. Toshiba will continue to contribute more to the international community by leading the way in eco-leading innovation in order to promote the realization of a smart frugal society that solves the trilemma of issues we face today and creates an environment and economy in harmony with one another. I'd like to propose that we construct the smart frugal society that promotes harmony between the environment and economy on a global scale. With Japanese environmental technologies playing as a core, it could be achieved through international collaborations such as the Clean Development Mechanism Initiative and the Advanced Ultra Supercritical Thermal Power Generation Initiative. Sri Lanka is a stable domestic socialist republic country of a good-shaped Ceylon island with about 20 million people, leveraging regional characteristics, well-sized population, and national governance. Sri Lanka could develop smart frugal society with regional emergement innovation. Sri Lanka could propose a new industry development model with using IoT on constructing high-quality social infrastructure. And Sri Lanka could also make national initiative to advance its social life discontinuously and link the result to national policy development. With experiences and expertise of social infrastructure development, Toshiba would like to contribute to Sri Lanka's social development and work together toward realizing a smart frugal society, a new social development model in global scale. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Muromachi, from smart frugal to smart global, and I hope that Sri Lanka can be the hub of that transition. Our last speaker today, before we have a brief introduction to the Sakura Science Program, is Dr. Jörg Schneider. Dr. Schneider has worked for many long years in the international divisions, taking technology to the workplace and working together with the German government and promoting an international engagement in these areas of work and technology. He has been responsible for establishing many such initiatives both within and outside of Germany, and he also acts currently as the remote director of the Tokyo office of DFG, the German Research Foundation, and their Delhi office. Please, Mr. Schneider.
Do I start? Yes. Yeah, thank you very much for this kind introduction and for having me here today on this very distinguished panel. In fact, I'm from Germany. My name is Jörg Schneider, but I'm not going to talk about Germany. I'm neither going to talk about Sri Lanka. My task today is my task today is to briefly explain to you the Global Research Council. So I will go through the background. Why am I here actually? I will show you the structure and the governance of the Global Research Council, and finally some of its achievements and future plans. The main topic of this meeting here, very rightfully, is ecosystems, innovative ecosystems. And innovative ecosystems, as also said by the title, have to be sustainable. And as Bob Stamford pointed out earlier today, sustainability of an innovation ecosystem means there must be new research results coming. Otherwise, innovation will come to an end if we are very pessimistic, which I'm not. So research results have to be funded, they have to come from somewhere, and this is why the lower part of my wonderful ecosystem here on the slide comes in, the, let's say, basic or more applied research funding as it's done by funding organizations, by governments, from taxpayers' money. Supra Suresh, when he was president or chairman, I think, of the American National Science Foundation, once said, good science anywhere is good science, is good for science everywhere. And this is what we are talking here about. It doesn't help if Sri Lankan scientists are very good or German scientists are very good. The good results come when they work together. And for working together, these scientists need an environment, and if possible, they need joint standards to facilitate their work and to make it easier for them, let's say it like this, to get the money they need for the research. So the question Supra Suresh brought up in 2011 was, how can the funding agencies worldwide work together to make this support for the researchers possible, and how can they thus support the global research enterprise? So his idea was the Global Research Council, a virtual organization which consists of heads of research council, hawks, not the executive level, but the bosses must come themselves. We are talking about publicly funded organizations, and there's a major focus on funders of fundamental and slightly applied research. There are two major goals of the Global Research Council. One is to identify best practices and define standards for funding organizations to better help their researchers, obviously. So what we want to do is make our funding agencies more comparable and more compatible in their measures, in their instruments, so that we, by the end of the day, can easily fund researchers who want to cooperate without having to bother about the rules and regulations these bureaucrats back home have. Second major goal is to support the establishment of new funding organizations, as he said, Supra said, in countries with emerging research investment. I mean, worldwide, if you have a closer look, there are funding agencies, there are research funding programs coming up. They have to be designed, and rather than inventing the wheel again every time, this Global Research Council is meant to help them to do the right thing if it fits for their systems. So we can really provide a basis, a forum for the heads of research organizations and councils to address common issues, to build trust between them and their innovation systems, obviously, and foster, at the end of the day, multilateral research cooperation. So how do we do that? What's the structure of the Global Research Council? The main happening is an annual meeting. So that's the Global Research Annual Meeting, which is allowed for 2 organizations per country, and we only allow the heads, the presidents, and a +1, somebody like me, who supports them. I'm head of international at the German funding organization, but otherwise we keep the circle very close and very specific. The host country can invite some specialists, but the whole thing should be in a working atmosphere, so we don't want too many people around a table. The GRC annual global meeting is selected, the host is selected in a competitive way, and as you hopefully believe, there's a big competition going on because countries are very interested to host such a meeting, and it seems that they have a lot of benefits in their political backgrounds if they host the GRC. So the next call for proposals for the host will be in September, and then the governing board of the Global Research Council will decide where we have our meeting in 2018. I just listed the meetings we had so far. The first one was in 2012, when Super Suraj invited 44 hawks, primarily from G20 and OECD countries, where this was more or less the kickoff start. The second meeting was in Berlin, when we already had invited more than 70 organizations, and this is about the number now coming together every year. We don't think there should be many more at the annual meetings, because this is just still workable. And you see here, I hope you can see it, yes you can, just in yellow, the topics this Global Research Council tackles. Every year we select 2 topics which are important for research funders, not so much for researchers directly, or certainly not for a country or innovation system, but topics which are important for us, so that we can better deliver our tasks to our customers, to the researchers. So, for example, in Berlin, we started with an open access discussion, open access on publication, obviously. The colleagues in Beijing started to care for young researchers. In Japan, scientific breakthrough was a very, very important topic, while this year in Delhi, women in research were the focus of our discussions. These discussions end in statements which are endorsed by all the participants, hopefully. You can always abstain, but people don't. So long discussions lead to a short paper which is published, and all the organizations which take part in this try to implement whatever we have decided, action plans, statements of principles, standards in their organizations. So in the long run, if we are talking about, let's say, what is peer review, every of these organizations knows what peer review should be looking like. Did I talk 20 minutes already? Okay, very important is these global summits are prepared by regional meetings. During the regional meetings, the executive level can meet and can discuss and can prepare what has to be decided during the annual meeting, and hope this will be a very good opportunity for me to come back to Sri Lanka one time when there could be an Asia-Pacific meeting here in your wonderful country. There's a governing board consisting of 11 elected hawks, which are regularly renewed, so that any organization has a chance to be within the governing circle once, and there's an executive secretary and an executive support group, which I'm chairing, which supports the whole business over the year. Sorry, I should mention that there is a Japanese colleague, Hiroshi Ando from GSPS, who's responsible for helping the organizers in the Asian countries. So if there's some need, he's the one to address. In International Steering Committee, and most important, I think, who are the members? There are no members, there are only participants. So whoever is a stakeholder can be invited to the global or to the regional meetings, and thus will bring in his own interest, the interest of his own country, into these discussions. So we already had a lot of success, since you will have the PowerPoints anyway on the internet later. You can read that yourself. Since I'm running out of time, I just say that the GRC is an organization which is talking about the problems and the challenges of research funding organizations. We are not talking about global issues, we are not talking about topics or science. So what we want to do is make sure that we stick to that. We cooperate very closely with the STS Forum in Kyoto, because there is an assembly like you are here today, where we can talk about topics together with GST. Our friends in Japan, we have a funding agencies presidents meeting where we prepare the Global Research Council's meeting. And if you are coming from a research organization, please go to Kyoto and come to our joint meeting to discuss topics with us. And sorry for being so long between you and your lunch. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Schneider. I'm sure there are many people in Sri Lanka who are interested in the work of the Global Research Council, and I look forward to further engagement. I'm sorry that we had to rush through many things, but please keep this engagement in the back of your minds. And last of all, we have a short presentation from the Japan Science and Technology Agency on the Sakura Science Program, which is, I think, something of great benefit to Sri Lanka. If you can keep your presentation as short as you can, then Dr. Amunugama can wrap up from Sri Lankan perspective this morning's session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. In 2014, JST has started a Sakura Science Plan for the purpose of contributing to cultivation of youth in Asia in the field of science and technology. In the Sakura Science Plan, JST invites Asian youth for 1 to 3 weeks. Eligible youth for Sakura Science Plan is under age 40, including high school students, university students, teachers, researchers, and so on. Sakura Science Plan has mainly 2 kinds of programs: Open Application Program and Sakura Science High School Program. I will touch upon later these 2 programs. Photograph. Dr. Shirakawa, Nobel laureate in chemistry, gives experimental chemical class lectures for Sakura Science High School Program students. Eligible countries and regions. In 2016, this year, 35 countries and regions are eligible for Sakura Science, including East Asia, Southeast Asia, Southwest Asia, Central Asia, and Pacific Island countries. JST has launched Sakura Science Plan for Sri Lanka this year, 2016. Budget and number of invitees. Budget of Sakura Science Plan has been increased year by year from the starting point of 2014. Number of invitees of Sakura Science Plan in 2014 was about 3,000. In 2015, about 4,200. And in this year, 2016, target of invitee is about 5,000. Photograph depth, beating Shinkansen tunnel in Nagasaki University's program. Light, seminar of functionality cytology in Hiroshima University's program. Open application program. Receiving organization in Japan, such as university, in cooperation with sending organization in Asia country, such as university, submit application of program to JST. JST selected good programs and gives necessary funding to selected receiving organizations. There are 3 kinds of courses in this open application program. Exchange course in which receiving organization conduct exchange program with invited youth for about 10 days. Photograph, this is a navigation satellite system of Tokyo Marine Science and Technology University, in which one student of Kelaniya University, North Sri Lanka, has participated. And secondly, joint research course in which members of the receiving organization and members of the sending organization make a short-term joint research activities for about up to 3 weeks. This picture is architecture program of Kumamoto University. And thirdly, training course in which receiving organization gives training course for special fields of about 10 days. This picture shows field of infectious disease, which is common between human beings and animals. receiving organization is Azab University. So far, 22 students in total from Sri Lanka have been decided to come to Japan in 4 individual programs in this open application program. Next. Sakura Science High School program. JST itself invites excellent high school students in Asian countries to provide 1-week science and technology program. In the Sakura Science High School program, there are a lecture class or experimental class of Japanese Nobel laureate. And photograph right above, from Sri Lanka, 10 high school students and 2 supervisors have already participated in Sakura Science High School program in July this year, including Nobel laureate lectures, Dr. Shirakawa's lecture. And I myself accompanied Sri Lanka's high school students staying in Japan. I was very much impressed that Sri Lanka's high school students were very brilliant and excellent. And left up Dr. Shirakawa, Nobel laureate chemistry's lecture, and left below Dr. Negishi, Nobel laureate in chemistry. Sakura Science Club. Sakura Science Club is an alumni club for all the members who have participated in the Sakura Science Plan. All the members of Sakura Science Club are given latest information on science and technology, education of universities, and they can communicate to each other in the website of this club. In this year, total number of members of Sakura Science Club will be over 10,000. As a conclusion, I would like to take up 3 points. Firstly, the aim of Sakura Science Plan is to give youth in Asian countries incentive and chances to experience science and technology, to be interested in science and technology, and to enter into the field of science and technology in the future. Secondly, JST intends to develop Sakura Science Plan from next year furthermore in cooperation with related countries in Asia. Finally, network of youth and friendships of youth who participated in Sakura Science Plan would constitute sound basis of science and technology in the Asia and contribute to sustainable development in the world eventually. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hirose. And I think we have the Minister of Special Assignments, Honorable Minister Dr. Amnugama, who will wrap up with how the session has gone from a Sri Lankan perspective. I'm sorry we started 25 minutes late, so you have to wait a little longer, just a wee bit longer for your lunch. My apologies for that. But I think it is very important that the Minister sums up from the Sri Lankan perspective how the session
I won't
went.
take much time. I won't detain you from an excellent lunch. But I want to take this opportunity to thank our 6 presenters for very informative and well-prepared presentations. I'm sure much of that information that was given this morning was not available to us previously. So it is the responsibility of the different institutions represented here to make use of those very many opportunities that are on offer as a result of this conference and particularly of this morning's presentations. I was also reminded of the fact that Dr. Arthur Clarke lived in Sri Lanka for a very long time. He was a visionary in science, and many of the findings now, the research now, is confirming lots of those ideas that he put out as a futurologist. So in a little way, Sri Lanka also can participate and be happy at the direction in which many of these changes are taking place, and some of those changes have been described here. I think all the presentations could be subsumed under 5 headings. That is the role of the individual scientist, the role of the university, the role of the corporate sector, the role of the foundations, and the role of the government. These are the 5 pillars that have been discussed today. And these are the 5 pillars on which a science policy and a forward-looking scientific program can be evolved. What we saw today was that within each of these pillars, there are challenges. There is new thinking, there are attempts to improve, so that one aspect is to optimize what can be done within each of those categories. The second problem is the interrelationships of those categories, each with the other 4 categories that we described. Now, this is a very complex and a very challenging aspect. How does the scientist interact with the university? How does the university interact with the government? How do these very vital foundations work with the scientists and the institutions that are available to further their goals? What is the role of the government? So these presentations have led to, I think, a lot of new thinking regarding each of these elements that come into the scientific world and the challenges and the need for interrelationships among those. I think nobody in this house will say that we have model interrelationships, particularly in Sri Lanka. So it becomes necessary after this conference to rethink whether these 5 pillars are meeting those challenges, and also to assess how we can improve our present approaches in respect of these 5 categories that I mentioned. Another aspect that struck me was regarding the prioritization of research areas. Each country, each institution must look at those priorities. For example, I was very impressed to see the research done on the coral reef, which is of vital importance to Sri Lanka. We have a very, very bad history of destroying our coral reefs, and in particular I remember the red light flashed by Arthur Clarke, who time and again drew attention to this problem. And you know that when the tsunami hit us in, I think, 2014, it were those areas which had destroyed the coral reef that suffered the most, because the water rushed inland. There was no check to those waves. So that was something very, very interesting. Then look at the research that was described, because together with development that we talk about, there are other environmental and other physical hazards. There are medical problems that arise. So just as much as we talk of growth and development, we must also identify and resolve some of the problems that arise out of these sometimes very desirable growth processes. So I think this has been a very interesting presentation, set of presentations. I was very impressed by the hard work that has gone into each of the presentations, the details that were given, and I would ask the organizers to kindly make available these presentations to anyone in this audience who would like to have them. I was particularly interested in what the Japanese corporates could do for growth in Sri Lanka. I was very impressed by the presentations. I thank you all, and thank you also for being a wonderful audience, and I think you're going to deserve the lunch that you're going to have. Thank you.
I need one more minute from you, please. Co-chairs, all good things must come to an end. However, all good things must be recognized. Now the time to give away mementos to the presenters and the co-chairs. Please stay for 2 minutes. Let me invite the co-chair, Honorable Minister Amanugama, to give away the mementos to the following presenters. First in the list that I have, Dr. Managuchi. Dr. Ebinger. Dr. Robert Bergeron. Mr. Muramachi. And then Dr. Shalinder. I think all done. No, wait. No, I have a plan, please. Now I want to invite 2 students from the audience who are participating in this forum to give the awards to the co-chairs. I think it was given, but I had planned, so I had to do that. So, yes. First, I will invite Ms. Nivashini Gopalakrishnan, grade 12 of Ramanathan Hindu Ladies College of Colombo, to give the memento to Honorable Amanugama. Thank you, Nivashini. And then I invite Mr. Prakash Kulatunga of D.S. Senanayake College to give away the presentation to Professor Kashim. Those are our future scientists, and we must continue to innovate in everything that we do. Thank you very much. Have your lunch, and then let us meet in our sessions in the afternoon. Thank you.